Alright, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of great millstone, our land is true from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today I just want to go, into this post I seen earlier on Instagram. And this is from the page Crime News in Detroit. And the title reads, Hamtramck Schools to Create New Review Process After Complaints About LGBTQ Books. So, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. And this is Hamtramck Public Schools will establish a new process that includes parents to review books for students after some had raised concerns about books with LGBTQ themes they believe to be too sexually explicit for children. We will be introducing a new book review process that will include a committee consisting of parents, educators, and administrators. The district said in a statement provided Friday by Hamtramck Schools interim superintendent and English language development director Nabil Nagy. The committee's role will not be to limit student access to books, but to ensure that books available to our students are appropriate based on education guidelines. Nagy added in a letter that some of the claims made by protesters are inaccurate. At a packed board meeting last Wednesday, speakers railed against the books and the district. The scene and messages were similar to board meetings and protests held in recent months in Dearborn. Attendees and protesters at the Hamtramck meeting included Republicans and others who have been leading protests in Dearborn: Hassan Aoun, Stephanie Butler, and Mike Huckam. Similar protests have taken place across Michigan this year, and yes, again, this, the alphabet, thing is still being pushed, on children now. Hamtramck is a small city, within Metro Detroit, and is mostly populated by, Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs, and they're pretty much, they have a problem with this agenda being pushed upon them. But meanwhile, when it's pushed upon Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, it's okay, There's not really a major uproar about this particular practice, that's being pushed. And as you can see, the flag, with be destroyed. And it says, and a dead body shall lie in the street of that great city, talking about, the Israelites before we, woke up to the truth. And it said, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And yes, America is spiritually called Sodom again, based off what I just read, because of, the LG, the alphabet community, and it's spiritually Egypt because of, the hardcore bondage, the hardcore slavery that we had to endure, in this land. And our Lord Yahweh Shai wasn't physically crucified here in America, but his image was crossed, they changed it. Then I'm going to go to the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. And it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And yes, the wicked being Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And this is what he pushes, Ultimately, he's pushing it upon the nation of Israel, but ultimately he's trying to push it across the entire earth, because this particular practice, this alternative lifestyle, it leads to death, Two men, can't create life. Two women can't create life, only a man and a woman, coming together, during the act of sex can create, life, which is ultimately to procreate, to bring forth children. This is the book of Jude. This one chapter. Yes, like you, book of Jude. And verse 7. And it says, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. And yes, ultimately that's going to be the judgment that America is going to receive, that fire and brimstone, which is going to be, done by way of the ICBM missiles. Slovakia, that are going to be shot off during World War III, and most of those missiles are going to come from Russia, America has to be destroyed, and it's going to be destroyed by way of those missiles, And this is the book of Revelation, chapter 9 and verse 16. And it says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. And by these was the third part of men killed by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. And it says, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And yes, that's how America is going to be judged, by way of those ICBM missiles, And this is one of the many reasons why, because America is literally, Sodom, because of the things that goes on. And I'm just going to play this. 18 is talking about, those horsemen, those missiles, because ultimately that's what's going to destroy America. That's what it's describing, because once those missiles are launched, they're going to be launched, into space, into the firmament, which is the ozone layer. They're going to be launched outside of the ozone layer. They're going to get their exact coordinates of whichever target they're going to hit. And they're going to come back down to the earth on fire, because they're going to be traveling so fast, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to completely waste this land, nothing will be left. And that's one of the many reasons why, because America is spiritually Sodom, So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. To the next time I say Shalom.